Omar Esaf here, and in today's video, guys, we're getting a little technical. Don't get scared. Don't turn away from this video. Come back. Sit down. We're talking about neuromuscular coordination, proper patterning when it comes to movements. What am I talking about? Well, has this ever happened to you? Does your back round on the deadlift? On the squat, do you lean forward? Did your ass come off the bench when you're bench pressing? On the overhead press, do you lean back? Well, we might say that it's due to having an imbalance. You need to work on certain muscle groups that are weak or being compensated for. A lot of the times, it comes from bad patterning that develops over time. Here's what I mean. Movements are a skill, and they're a skill that needs to be developed. If you're not properly coordinating your body on a regular basis to do those movements properly, what will inevitably happen is that as the weight gets heavy, your form will go to shit. And this becomes a problem because if you don't correct this, it'll get worse and worse with time. This is why we see guys that will achieve the 500-pound deadlift. Oh, that's fantastic. But their form looks like dog shit because from 350 pounds, they were not fixing these problems, right? That back rounding where they look like a scared cat, that hip hinge going on. So they carry these bad patterning problems forward with them. And like I said before, well, we could talk about dynamic mobility. I'm all about that. Learning how to fire certain muscle groups, not getting tight. I'm a big fan of that. We need to talk about patterning. And here's what I mean. When the going gets tough is when your form needs to get even better. Here's what I mean. Common problem on the squat, right? Your knees tend to cave in, you're closing your hips. What do we want to talk about? Well, the cue when it gets heavy is to externally rotate your hips. Open up your hips. That's great. But are you going to do it when you do that exercise? Maybe not. How do you solve this? By doing two key things. And this is what I'm talking about today. Proper neuromuscular coordination. One, more warm-up sets. Think about it. If you're going to squat 500 pounds, will it really affect your performance if you're doing, say, instead of one warm-up set of 135 pounds, doing 2 or 3? Movements are a skill. You have to wire in that proper form, and you want to carry that proper form forward as the weight gets heavier. What I'm trying to say, a lot of people will skip their warm-up. They will not do a lot of sets, and what will happen, their form will okay on the warm-up set, and they'll quickly be pulled into their improper form, and that's how injuries occur. The second thing I want to talk about are movements that work synergistically with the fundamental pattern. So I'm talking about the deadlift. What's a deadlift, man? It's a hip hinge. You bring the ass out, you're bringing it back in. What does that resemble if we talk about anabolic conditioning? Kettlebell swings. They are fantastic. You're mimicking the exact same movement. The more activities you can do mimicking that essential movement pattern, the better coordinated you'll be doing it correctly. What I'm trying to say, let's talk about the squat. Right? Sprints are great, the hip flexor for firing, learning how to activate your hip flexor, the bottom portion of a squat. A box jump is great for helping to teach the proper squat, the hip flexor to fire. If you do exercises, anabolic conditioning that helps with your squat and your deadlift, you'll notice immediate improvement that it's easier to get low on the squat while keeping your chest up, that it's easier on the deadlift to bring the booty in, keeping the back straight. It's about practice, and it's about learning that proper coordination, because what happens, as I'm saying, is you become improperly coordinated. As the weight gets heavy, your body gets programmed to fuck up your form. So, doing more warm-up sets, yeah, I know it sounds pretty basic. Do more warm-up sets, very important. But also, if you're going to do conditioning work, right, like I said, kettlebell swings, they're a great choice for the deadlift. If you're going to do, some sort of running activity, sprints, fantastic for the squat. You can think about also your accessory movements. Right? Learning that pattern. The overhead press, one of my favorite accessory movements, is the Bradford press. Why is this? Because it helps teach about that shoulder shelf, getting it from here to above your head, which is where most people will have their problem. The more activities, as I already said, that you can do to help out these essential patterns, you'll build that proper neuromuscular coordination. You want evidence for this? Huh? Do you? Alright. If you look at any athlete, they're used to using their body in all sorts of different ways. They have a high kinesthetic sense of awareness. They know how to use their body. If I say, hey, deadlift guy, their form, without ever being taught how to deadlift, will look pretty damn good. And what's more, as their weight gets heavy, they'll look better than a normal sedentary citizen that has been doing absolutely nothing. This is because they are used to using their body. those patterns are familiar to them. They may never have deadlifted, but they've done the hip hinge pattern on the squat, in football or whatnot. They might have mimicked those movements. So what I'm trying to tell you guys, in summary, talking about neuromuscular coordination, not injuring yourself. What I want you to do is try and incorporate movements that work with your major first primary compound movements. So on the deadlift, don't worry about doing, extra warm-up sets of 135 pounds. It could only benefit you. Movements are a skill. And what's more, what I'd even recommend on off days, if you have problems, if you can't squat correctly, if your knees cave in, you lean forward, and you look like a pizza pie, you should come in on another day and practice that squat. Once again with a lightweight, let's say 95 pounds in total, and practice, boom, that squat form. I guarantee, not only is it great for dynamic mobility, you're doing the exact same pattern, so you're opening up the body to do that pattern. Your body will remember the proper form and pull it forward when it gets heavy. That's really as simple as I could state it, guys. And that is where mastery comes from movement. Repetition and skill, doing it correctly. So thank you, as always, for watching my video. Very simple but profound tip I feel today. If you like this video, make sure to show your support and like this video. I appreciate it. Not a subscriber, don't want to talk to you. I want to talk to my loyal subscribers, you guys who watch all my videos. Thank you for watching, and I'll be seeing all you guys in the next video. Take care of yourself.